Botanical Desires by Oliver Hale. In the spring of 1872, Miss Amelia Fairfax sat at her writing desk, quill poised over a blank sheet of paper. The soft morning light filtered through the lace curtains of her father's modest parsonage in the rural village of Thornfield. At 24, Amelia had long since resigned herself to spinsterhood, finding contentment in assisting her father with his parish duties and pursuing her passion for botany. With a determined set to her jaw, she began to write. Dear Mr. Everett, I hope this letter finds you well. I am writing to inquire about your advertisement in the Gardener's Chronicle regarding the exchange of pressed flower specimens. If you are amenable, I would be most interested in participating in such an exchange. Amelia paused, wondering if she was being too forward. But her desire for scientific correspondence outweighed her concerns about propriety. She had long yearned for an intellectual equal with whom to share her observations and theories about the local flora. Little did she know that her letter would be the first of many, setting in motion a series of events that would change her life forever. Miles away in London, Mr. Oliver Everett sat in his cluttered study at the Royal Botanic Gardens. At 32, he was already making a name for himself in botanical circles, though his quiet nature and dedication to his work left little time for social engagements. When he received Amelia's letter, he was immediately intrigued by her clear passion for botany and her articulate observations. Their correspondence began formally, with exchanges of pressed flowers and detailed notes on their habitats and characteristics. But as the weeks turned to months, a warmth began to creep into their letters. Amelia found herself eagerly anticipating Oliver's replies, admiring his meticulous sketches and insightful comments. For his part, Oliver was consistently impressed by Amelia's keen eye and innovative theories about plant adaptation. As summer faded into autumn, their letters grew longer, touching on topics beyond botany. Amelia shared stories of village life and her work with her father's parishioners. Oliver wrote of his travels across England for his research and his dreams of one day leading an expedition to study exotic plants in far-off lands. One crisp October morning, Amelia received a letter that made her heart skip a beat. My dear Miss Fairfax, I find myself in the fortunate position of needing to conduct a survey of wildflowers in your region. I wonder if I might impose upon your expertise and request your assistance in this endeavor. I would, of course, ensure that you receive full credit for your contributions to the study. If this arrangement is agreeable to you, I plan to arrive in Thornfield on the 15th of this month. Amelia's hands trembled slightly as she read the letter. The prospect of meeting Oliver in person both thrilled and terrified her. What if he found her disappointing in real life? What if the easy rapport they had developed through their letters didn't translate to face-to-face interaction? Despite her misgivings, Amelia penned an enthusiastic reply, assuring Oliver that she would be delighted to assist with his research. On the appointed day, Amelia stood nervously at the village's small train station, fidgeting with the brim of her bonnet. As the train pulled in with a great hiss of steam, her eyes scanned the disembarking passengers. Suddenly, there he was, tall and lean, with unruly brown hair and spectacles perched on his nose. Oliver's face broke into a wide smile as he spotted Amelia, and she felt her breath catch in her throat. Miss Fairfax, he said warmly, tipping his hat. It's a pleasure to finally meet you in person. Amelia curtsied, willing her voice to remain steady. Mr. Everett, welcome to Thornfield. I trust your journey was comfortable? As they walked together towards the village discussing Oliver's plans for the wildflower survey, Amelia was struck by how natural it felt to be in his company. His gentle manner and genuine enthusiasm for their shared passion put her at ease. Over the next 2 weeks, Amelia and Oliver spent their days exploring the countryside around Thornfield, cataloging and sketching the local flora. Their evenings were often spent in deep discussion by the fireplace in the parsonage's cozy sitting room, much to the amusement of Amelia's father. One afternoon, as they crouched side by side examining a rare orchid, their hands brushed accidentally. Amelia felt a jolt of electricity at the contact, and when she glanced up, she found Oliver looking at her with an intensity that made her cheeks flush. Amelia, he said softly, using her Christian name for the first time. I. But before he could continue, a clap of thunder broke the moment. The sky, which had been threatening rain all day, finally opened up. Laughing, they gathered their equipment and ran for shelter, the unspoken moment hanging between them. As Oliver's time in Thornfield drew to a close, Amelia found herself filled with a bittersweet longing. She had grown accustomed to his presence, to their shared meals and long conversations. The thought of returning to their previous letter-writing relationship seemed hollow in comparison. On Oliver's last evening in the village, they took a walk in the church garden, ostensibly to observe some night-blooming flowers. The air was heavy with the scent of jasmine, and the moon cast a silvery glow over the landscape. "I can't thank you enough for your assistance these past 2 weeks," Oliver said, his voice low. "Your insights have been invaluable to my research." Amelia smiled. "It was my pleasure, Mr. Everett. I've learned so much from you as well." Oliver turned to face her, his expression serious. "Amelia, I find myself reluctant to leave Thornfield. These weeks with you have been the happiest of my life." Amelia's heart raced, but she forced herself to remain calm. "I've enjoyed your company immensely as well, Oliver. Perhaps we could continue to correspond?" "Of course," he said quickly. "But I was hoping, that is, I wondered if you might consider," he trailed off, looking uncharacteristically flustered. Amelia held her breath, hardly daring to hope. Finally, Oliver seemed to gather his courage. "Amelia, would you do me the great honor of allowing me to court you properly?" Joy bloomed in Amelia's chest, but years of pragmatism made her hesitate. "Oliver, are you certain? Our lives are so different. Your work in London, my responsibilities here." Oliver took her hands in his touch gentle but firm. "I've never been more certain of anything. We'll find a way to make it work, if you're willing. Your brilliance, your passion, your kind heart. These are worth any obstacle we might face." Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes as she nodded. "Yes, Oliver. Yes, I would like that very much." Their courtship progressed slowly, with Oliver making regular trips to Thornfield when his work allowed. Their letters, once filled with purely scientific observations, now brimmed with personal anecdotes, shared dreams, and thinly veiled expressions of growing affection. As the seasons changed, so too did their relationship. What had begun as a meeting of minds blossomed into a deep, abiding love. They collaborated on research papers, with Oliver insisting that Amelia receive equal credit for her contributions. He supported her desire to further her education, helping her apply for and win a scholarship to study botany at a women's college in London. It was on a bright spring morning, almost 2 years to the day since their first meeting, that Oliver proposed. They stood together in the very same church garden where he had first asked to court her, surrounded by the flowers they both loved so dearly. "Amelia Fairfax," Oliver said, dropping to one knee and presenting a ring adorned with a delicate floral design. "You have brought more joy and wonder into my life than I ever thought possible. Would you do me the great honor of becoming my wife?" Amelia's eyes shone with happy tears as she pulled Oliver to his feet. "Yes, my darling. 1,000 times yes." Their wedding, held in Amelia's father's church, was a celebration of not just their love, but of the intellectual partnership they had forged. The bouquets and buttonholes were crafted from the very wildflowers they had studied together, a testament to the roots of their relationship. In the years that followed, Amelia and Oliver built a life that beautifully balanced their personal and professional passions. They established a small botanical research center near Thornfield, allowing them to split their time between the countryside and London. Together, they made significant contributions to the field of botany, with Amelia becoming a respected scientist in her own right. Their home was filled with books, pressed flowers, and sketches, a visual representation of the shared interests that had brought them together. And though their days were often busy with research and writing, they never lost the simple joy of walking hand in hand through fields of wild flowers, marveling at the beauty of the natural world and the love they had found in each other. On their 10th wedding anniversary, Oliver presented Amelia with a beautifully bound volume, a collection of all the letters they had exchanged over the years, from their first tentative communications to the love-filled notes they still wrote to each other when work kept them apart. As Amelia leafed through the pages, she was struck by the gradual transformation of their relationship, from formal scientific exchanges to the deep, abiding love they now shared. "Our love story, written in our own hands," she murmured, tracing the familiar writing. Oliver wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "A slow-blooming flower," he said softly, "but all the more beautiful for it." Amelia turned in his embrace, her eyes shining with love and gratitude. "And like the rarest blooms," she said, "ours is a love that will never fade." As they stood there in the warm sunlight of their study, surrounded by the fruits of their shared passion and the tangible proof of their journey from colleagues to soulmates, Amelia and Oliver knew that theirs was a love story for the ages, one of gradual growth, mutual respect, and the unbreakable bond formed when two kindred spirits find each other. Their tale served as a reminder that true love often grows not in grand, dramatic gestures, but in the quiet moments of shared understanding, in the gentle nurturing of common interests, and in the unwavering support of each other's dreams. It was a love that had blossomed slowly, but had taken root so deeply that it would continue to flourish for all the years to come.